Good morning! I'm just about to head out for a little run. The weather is so awesome this morning, and something I like to do every evening is I set myself up for success the next day. So I already put this sweet watermelon, probably the last one of the season, out on the counter, and I also put my running clothes on the chair in the back so that once I got up I could immediately put these clothes on. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy and see you at breakfast. And after I came back from the run, I decided to cut up the melon, and since the season is already coming to an end, the parts where the seeds are don't taste as fresh anymore or as good anymore, since the watermelons probably have been lying on the field for quite some time. So what I like to do is I cut the pieces where the seeds are off so that I just have the flesh without the seeds. And yeah, this is such a game changer and such a life hack for when the season is already over. As you know, I'm a sunshine girl. I love eating outside. So even though it's a little bit chilly outside, I decided to get my warm and cozy blanket. This is my old sleeping blanket. And I still like to eat outside as long as I can. And yeah, as always, I take a moment before I eat to just be grateful. And yeah, I also really recently started discovering that when I eat with my hands, and I actually think that's why people love bread so much, because I think eating with our hands is how we're designed to eat food. So I was thinking to get a fork to eat the melon, but I was thinking, I love eating with my hands because I feel like we're connecting with the food on a deeper level, and we're already kind of connecting with the food before we even put it in our mouth. So that's a discovery I had recently. Alright, today's question of the day. What bike is this? I would love a video about biking and equipment, and you came to the right person. And before I get into the equipment I just wanted to share a little bit about how my life changed since I got that bike. So it's an Orbea Avant H30, which I love this bike so much. It literally feels like it's my pet that I'm taking care of. And the biggest shift that has happened in my life since getting this bike is my mood and my vibe. So I use this bike to commute to work, which is a 35-kilometer bike ride. And my clients literally tell me that whenever I'm there and I'm cycling, I'm on a different vibe compared to when I take the train. Just more high vibe, and I can also feel it myself that when I've taken the train, I feel like I need to put more effort into work, versus if I ride and I start the morning on like a nice bike ride in nature, I just feel like the day goes by so quickly when I'm there, and it doesn't even feel like work. So just the added life quality to my life since getting this bike and my mental and emotional health is huge. And I would say that's like the biggest game changer, or like the biggest shift that happened in my life since getting this bike. But then also, of course, my physical health improved. So I have, as you maybe have seen in the last 6 months since getting this bike, lost some more weight, and I just generally feel lighter. I feel more connected with my hunger and fullness. When I'm full, like my body knows exactly, okay, now I'm full and now I want to stop, because I, of course, also want to feel light and energized when I get onto my bike. And also, I feel like when you have a really nice bike, it's absolutely not necessary, and cycling is not a cheap sport. So just be aware of that if you are considering to also get a road bike. It's not a cheap sport. However, it makes it so effortless and fun to, first of all, get things done, like run errands, but also to get movement in without even having to do anything. And I would say in the long term, this is probably still way cheaper, or it is way cheaper than, if I got a car, because I have been thinking about getting a car, because I just don't really like taking the train that much, especially at rush hour when there's a lot of people in there. I often get anxiety when I'm in there, because there's so many people wearing like lots of perfume and deodorant and just generally so many different energies, and I'm extremely sensitive to like too much stimulation from the outside. So for me, I needed like a change, and I was thinking a car, but then I was thinking like, no, I'm gonna get a road bike. It's a much better investment. So that's what I got. And now let's get into the equipment. So the first most important thing, of course, is a helmet. You always want to wear a helmet. I'm now also getting my grandparents and my parents to always wear their helmet because it's just important. And then I also have a bike light, and I also have this backlight here. I have a spare tire, and let me get out the bottles. Yeah, so I also have this mini bike pump, and I have a thermo bottle, which I've tried the plastic bike bottles, but they make the water taste absolutely disgusting. I've tried several brands and I just don't like it. So now I have this, and in the summer it's so nice because you can keep your drinks cool. And then I looked for ages, literally, trying to find a plastic bottle from the supermarket that fits in there. And at one point I just gave up. And actually 2 days ago, I went to Kaufland, and their water bottles actually fit into this bike thing, which is so cool because in there the water doesn't taste weird for some reason. And then if I ride to work in the morning, I typically put some carrot juice in there, and then I have that in the morning, which is, again, if you're from Germany and you can get this carrot juice at DM, I'm not sponsored or anything, but it is so tasty. And yeah, I typically don't drink pasteurized juice anymore, but a couple times a month I'll have this. It's so good. And then I also have some clip-in shoes. It's totally a luxury. It's like adding to your life quality. For me, it's an absolute game changer though, because before I had these, I already felt like riding this bike is like riding an e-bike because it's so lightweight and it drives so effortlessly. But then when I got these, I'm like, okay, this is another universe. So yeah, these shoes definitely for me really, really cool. And now in the winter that it's getting a bit colder, I'm actually, because they're not insulated and they have a lot of airflow in the front, so I'm actually using tin foil to wrap my feet in, and then I go into the shoes to keep my feet nice and warm. I'm still looking for a better solution, so if any cyclists out there have any solutions for the winter, because I don't want to get these neoprene thingies. I've tried them at the shop, but I don't like them. But yeah, now for the colder time, I also have some sweat-wicking thermal gloves, sweat-wicking thermal hat that fits under the helmet, and these little reflectors to put around the pants. First of all, to protect your pants to not go into the bike chain, but then also to be seen. And that's pretty much all the biking equipment I have. I don't really have a lot. Oh yeah, and of course I also have a little bag to put my phone in when I need navigations, and I also have my keys, my wallet, and a plastic bag for fruit in here. And then I have a little mirror, and I have a bell. And then I also, of course, maintain my bike really well, because if you spend 3 grand on a bike, you want to maintain it well. So I have baby wipes, which I just wipe the chain with these baby wipes almost after every ride. And then I loop the chain with some oil, and I pump up the tires almost after every ride, but I'm not as disciplined with the tires, which I think is fine. So yeah, that's all my equipment. And if you have any questions, then make sure to drop them in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to answer it in my next What I Eat in a Day video. It's lunchtime, and I am going to make a banana smoothie with some bananas. I don't know yet how many I'm going to put in, but a lot. And then I'm, of course, also adding my frozen raspberries. We'll mix it all up in here with my stick blender. I'm also cutting up some apples because I really like to have my smoothies with something where I'm also chewing, because if I just have a smoothie and I don't have anything to chew, I just find it a bit more challenging to really get the satiation. And I've also found that my smoothies digest a lot better when I eat them with 1 or 2 apples or a pear. So yeah, recently I've been doing that, and it's worked really well for me. And these are Boss Cop apples. I love Boskop apples. I love the older like apple varieties. They still taste so natural. I'd also be super curious to hear in the comments what is your favorite apple variety. And of course I'm also taking my B12 and my D3. I won't recommend any specific brands here, just always make sure your B12 and your D3 has clean ingredients. So I'll put the ingredients of this one on the screen. It's just glycerin, water, and then one active ingredient. So the B12, I do not know how to pronounce this unfortunately. And then the D3 has MCT oil, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, which helps with the absorption of D3, and that's all the ingredients. So make sure they're clean, but other than that, you can't really do much wrong with B12 and D3. And I always take the liquid one, I put it under the tongue, that way the body can absorb the nutrients the very best. All right, of course I'm enjoying my food outside again. And the birds are chirping. And as always, I like to just take a moment before I actually eat the food to just be in silence, take a couple of breaths, absorb the sunshine, and yeah, get my body ready for some fuel. I just went for a shopping trip with my skates. It's so much fun. It was just a very small one, but I thought I'd still give you a little mini food haul. So the first thing I got are 2 figs and this one little persimmon. And I also got some iceberg lettuce. Everything I got is organic, don't panic. I also got a few tomatoes, got a bunch of bananas, and then got some apples. Because, as they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I got this mini pumpkin. Isn't this cute? What is this doing? And then I also got this mangosteen. It's not a mangosteen, it's a mango, and the variety is called Osteen. And these are pretty cool, and it's so awesome. I love autumn, like even though it's getting cold, and that's kind of like a little bit of a bummer. I was recently talking with my friend Johanna, she's also from Germany, and we were talking like it is so awesome in the autumn because there is so many amazing fruits. There are apples, there are persimmons, there are figs, there are grapes. There's so much deliciousness, and of course there's pumpkins. And this season, I'm so in love with the pumpkin. Anyways, I'm gonna have the figs and the persimmon now. And then I'm gonna make some dinner. Dinner is served. I am going to have a few clementines before I get into the vegetable meal. Probably 2 or 3, you know, until I am satisfied. But if I want more, I'll have more. And then I made some zoodles with a nice little zoodle machine. And I added the raw vegan bolognese, which is inside my Flat Tummy Feast cookbook, which everyone who has tried it so far has loved it. And there's also carrots in here. And the amazing thing is, so last time I made more of the bolognese, I froze it and then I defrosted it today and in some hot water. So I put the glass in here in some hot water. So now the bolognese is actually a little bit warm. And yeah, so basically it's almost a little bit of a warm meal. And then I also have cucumbers with lemon, which, you know, I love. And I wanted to talk about 2 things right now. So the first one is about wanting warm food when you're eating, you know, raw vegan. Now again, I want to be upfront and honest, I do not eat raw vegan every day, but I would say I have 50 to 60% of my days fully raw in the week, and then the rest I have some cooked food. And what helps me to not want warm food is to really move my body a lot, you know. So I was out for a run this morning. I did some stretching before that. I went inline skating to the Whole Food store to get some food. And yeah, that movement increases circulation in the body. And when we increase circulation, and also stretching especially helps with increasing that circulation. And when we increase circulation, then we are going to feel warm, and then we no longer need the warmth from the food. And in reality, warm food actually doesn't heat us up. In fact, it actually cools us down, because when we eat hot food, our body then needs to counterbalance the hot food by creating coldness. So I actually find myself feeling better in terms of thermoregulation when I eat, you know, room temperature food compared to eating warm food. And another tip I want to share as well is to, of course, eat sufficient calories. So if you're in a calorie deficit, you might feel cold. In that case, you might just heat up your room a little bit more. I always have my rooms heated up to the point where I can walk around in shorts, just because, I don't know, I just like walking around in shorts, even in the winter time. And yeah, so I do that. You know, I dress, when I go outside, I dress in warm stuff. And I also make sure whenever the sun is out, I get in some sunlight. That also really helps for not wanting to crave that warm food in the evening. So yeah, I just wanted to share these tips. And then I wanted to share one more thing. And I think then I'm going to end this video. And that is volume. I want to talk about volume, because a lot of people think that a raw vegan diet is not sustainable, or you cannot thrive on a raw vegan diet because you have to eat such big volumes. And what I want to mention about that is, first of all, it takes time to adjust, but you don't have to eat like this bowl of food. I mean, you can if you want to, but you don't have to. And that's the nice thing, you know, there are calorie denser raw foods and there are less calorie dense raw foods. And however big your stomach volume is, you can adjust the foods you eat to that. So if you don't have that big of a stomach, you can just eat more dates and bananas or whatever calorie dense food you enjoy, persimmons. And if you have a very big stomach volume, or you like to eat bigger portions, then you just have more high water content foods. Or, you know, if you have the goal to release some body fat, and if you don't feel like it's doing you well and you just feel bloated all the time from all that fiber, first of all, make sure you chew your food well, you have breaks in between your meals, you actually put fuel in the tank when you need the fuel, and you don't put fuel in the tank when you're actually already fueled up. And of course, have less high water content stuff, have more dates, have more avocado, nuts, seeds. You don't have to eat huge amounts of fiber on a raw vegan diet. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. So I wanted to share that, and now I'm gonna dig in. And if you made it to this point of the video, comment apple, and tell me about your favorite apple variety. I would love to hear, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.